Everything that we have been taught about personal growth is wrong. That's why we keep adding new morning routines, buying more books, adding more supplements in to feel a certain kind of way that we know we want to be feeling.
Are you happy?
This isn't because that we are lazy. This is not because we are broken. And this is not because any of the people that are suggesting ways that we can improve our lives are trying to trick us. This is because there is a critical part of our human operating system. I spent 10 years mapping this, reviewing thousands of people and where this intersection between success and happiness is. And when I put my model into ChatGPT, it ran it through the tens of millions of data points that it has, and it found the exact same patterns. I had found the same architecture and the same missing link. And this mini series is designed to give you all of my discoveries and the entire framework that I found. There will be nothing that you need to do outside of this. There are other options that you can do if you want, but this is going to be all that you need to start. If you've ever felt like you've done everything right and you still haven't seen the outcomes, know that you are not alone. And especially for people who are extremely successful, this can be very isolating. Because when you have this dream that you want to achieve in your life and then you finally get it and it doesn't feel the way that you want, it's devastating. Because where do you go from here? Where do you go from the top when you have the body, you have the money, you have the fame and fortune and relationships, and just something isn't quite there? All of us can relate to this one more and then mentality, like one more big exit, one more marriage, one more diet. We push harder, we serve more, and we do everything we can to get to this next level. And when we get there, not everything changes the way that we would have hoped. So this feeling is not because we haven't achieved, it's because it's connected to something completely different. It's connected to this missing piece that you've been disconnected from. And a lot of times when we're successful, we end up feeling like, well, we don't deserve to be dissatisfied because we have so much more than so many people. We hope that this is just a phase, or we look for ways that we can be more grateful, but that's not the problem. Before I discovered this, I worked with companies that were on the edge of collapse and bankruptcy. And I would redo their strategy, their systems, leadership fixes, sometimes complete rebranding, restructuring, even moving. And the companies would turn around, but what I saw was that the people weren't turning around in the same way that the business was. No matter how successful it became, there was always more in their life that was not as successful. It was like we were so great at having one or two areas, but we're missing sort of this overarching flow in our lives. And we substitute it by pushing harder and trying to do more. And at first I thought maybe this is trauma, maybe this is some sort of mindset or bad leadership. But the more patterns that I saw, the more obvious that it became. This is not about personal failure. This is not random. This is systemic misalignment within everybody. The truth is that all of us have a unique operating system, and we have no idea how to run it. In fact, the biggest discovery was that there are two kinds of people. One kind of person needs to feel their feelings in order to create change and momentum in their life. The other needs to make decisions to create change and build momentum. And 99.9% of us are all doing the opposite of what we should be doing, except for a handful of times in our life when we finally get sick of something and we make a decision to get out, or we finally share how frustrating and disappointed we are in whatever the situation is, and things finally shift. But instead of 4 or 5 iterations in a lifetime, we should be looking at having 50 a day and no longer needing these big, giant consequences of growth, but being able to move so subtly and effortlessly that we can have huge, big, giant change without this whiplash. They did 2 interesting studies, one about gratitude journals and how the benefit of having a gratitude journal is temporary. So if you keep doing it over and over and over again, it can be helpful. Similarly, another study called Pursuing Happiness, the Architecture of Sustained Change, they saw that positive activities can also have a really beneficial impact, but not necessarily long term. You have to keep doing them. This is why you can stay in therapy for years, or you can try different habits and different exercises, different routines for years, and you're not having this real change that will be sustained whether you keep doing it or not. And to me, this is a sign of coping, that we are doing these positive things to cope from what our baseline is like in our lives and how we feel. Once you could see your human architecture and your operating system, you will never unsee it. It will start putting together all these pieces of you that you have felt have been at odds or fighting. You'll be able to see patterns and ahas for so many areas of your life. The next video is going to walk through these 2 operating systems in greater detail and help you find out how you determine which one that you are, and helps you understand how unlocking this one area of your life can change not only the way you think, but also how you live and love and improve every area of your life.